Last night I dreamed about today's race. I thought it was just a dream. Turns out, reality wasn't all that different. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning and I'm heading out to run 5 kilometers inside an archaeological park. 31 degrees. It's not the kind of day for setting personal bests, but that's not why I came. This is a park run. 5 kilometers every Saturday morning, free, timed. You register once, print a barcode, and from then on, you can turn up at any parkrun in the world. And in my opinion, it's the best thing to happen to amateur running in the last 20 years. Because first of all, there are more and more races where you have to win a ballot to get in, or register months in advance, or both. Running in some places has become something you have to plan like moving house. Or you wake up, come to a park run 5 kilometers and meet a bunch of new people. If you don't know about park runs and want me to make a dedicated video about them, let me know in the comments. There is a lot to say. Anyway, quick briefing, a couple of pointers on the course, and we're off. Before we start, these are the metrics we're tracking today. And as you can see, the most interesting one right now is the thermometer. 32 degrees, one more than when I arrived, and we haven't even started yet. What you're seeing are visualizations of the data collected during the run. They come from an app I'm developing. It helps interpret workouts and gives visual feedback that can be really useful both for training and for making these videos. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to eventually share it with you guys. For now, I'm moving toward the front, because today I might actually have a shot at the podium. And we're off. As you can see, the top 3 immediately pull away, and I let them go, because in this heat, the worst thing you can do is chase someone in the first 1,000 meters. I settle into my own pace and keep them right there in front of me. Then who knows? If one of them pays for the fast start, maybe I'll catch them later. This is the Caffarella Valley, 190 hectares squeezed between the Aurelian Walls, the Appian Way and the Via Latina, two of the most important roads in the ancient world. We are inside the Appia Antica Park, just a couple of kilometers from the center of Rome. The Almone River flows through here. To the Romans it was sacred, and somewhere around here is the Nymphaeum of Egeria, where, according to legend, King Numa Pompilius met a water nymph who gave him advice on how to rule. And then there are the sheep. The park has been mowed by them since 1977. Flocks of sheep keeping the grass short instead of tractors, just 2 kilometers from downtown Rome. Somewhere around here there's also the Vaccareccia, a farmhouse built in 1547 by the Caffarelli, the family that gives the whole valley its name. Inside there's a working farm that still produces ricotta. So yeah, I'm running a race in a place where you can buy cheese. And the incredible thing is that in the 80s this place was about to be turned into a housing development. It remained a park because a group of citizens stood in the way for 20 years. Now I run through it on Saturday mornings, which feels like a pretty great ending to the story.
Still smells like pine and late train tracks.
That being said, I do have a goal. This year I want to go sub 20 on the 5K, under 4 minutes per kilometer 5 times in a row, and today I'm going for it with a very specific plan, which I'll explain at the end, because right now I have to run.
In the hall when the floorboards crack.
I feel good, which is exactly the problem, because in the first 1,000 meters you don't actually feel the heat you're accumulating yet. Your body lags behind the heat. It takes a few minutes to realize what kind of situation you've put it in. So the pace feels sustainable. It's not.
Come back home. If you're out there under the same
Second kilometer, and now the bill comes due. So I might as well explain what's happening while it's happening. The heat doesn't slow you down because you're weak. It slows you down for a very specific physiological reason. Your muscles and your skin are competing for blood flow. Your muscles need blood flow to deliver oxygen. Your skin needs it to release heat. And at 31 degrees, the skin wins that argument because the body considers not overheating much more urgent than making you run fast. The result is greater cardiovascular strain for the same pace. Your heart has to work harder to support both the muscles and the skin. You're spending more energy just to keep your body cool before you've even used any of it to run faster. On this stuff, heat adaptation, what really happens to the body, I could make a whole video. If you're interested, let me know. In the meantime, I already talked about it a bit in my Girona half marathon video. I'll leave a link in the description, or you can click up here. Third kilometer. And here the stuff I just explained starts showing up in the data. Look at the heart rate. It hasn't spiked suddenly. It just keeps climbing one beat at a time, and it never stops. And meanwhile, the pace drops. This is called cardiovascular drift. As you sweat, you lose fluid and your plasma volume begins to fall. Less blood returns to the heart with each beat, so the heart compensates by beating faster. Your heart rate rises even though your effort hasn't consciously changed, and your pace may already be starting to fall. And if you look at the cadence, it's holding up. It's not my technique falling apart. I'm still turning my legs over at the same rate, but covering less ground with every step. Translated, I'm spending more and more to get less and less. But meanwhile, look down there. The runner in third hasn't disappeared. She's right there and she's not pulling away. Fourth kilometer. And there's another thing the heat does, and it's the most unfair of all. Sweat doesn't cool you down when it comes out. It cools you down when it evaporates. With high humidity, it evaporates much more slowly. You're basically just soaking your shirt, meaning you lose all the fluids, you pay the full price, and you get far less of the cooling benefit. It's like taking a shower while wearing a bathrobe. And then there's the part the charts don't capture, because at a certain point you stop running for a time and start running just to finish, and your brain starts negotiating. It offers you solutions. Look, if you just slow down for a second here, you can recover later. You never recover. Your brain knows it, but it keeps suggesting it anyway, with the audacity of someone who doesn't actually have to run the last kilometer. But then this happens. The runner in third is getting closer, not because I'm speeding up, I can guarantee you that. She's the one paying for the fast start. And at that point, the brain completely changes the subject. 30 seconds ago, my legs wanted to negotiate. Now suddenly, they've changed their mind. 4.5 kilometers. Third place. 500 meters from the finish in 32-degree heat after spending 20 minutes convincing myself it just wasn't my day. But then, from behind, comes a runner moving at 4 minutes and 7 seconds per kilometer. He was hanging back for a while, but far enough away that I wasn't worried. Turns out he saved something for the end, which I clearly had not. He passes me, I have absolutely nothing to respond with, and just like that, the podium is gone. Fourth and 21:13, a minute and 13 seconds over 20 minutes. Put like that, it sounds like a failed race, it's not. And now I'll explain why, because that plan I mentioned earlier is all right in here. So, I already knew this morning before starting that going sub 20 today was impossible. Not out of pessimism, because I had calculated it. Remember the app I told you about at the start? Here's what I used it for this morning. It shows the pace you can expect to hold at the same level of effort as the temperature changes. At 12 degrees, this is my expected pace. At 20, it's already a little slower. At 32, which is what we had this morning, I end up down here, which translated into a finish time means this. A 21-minute 5K in 32-degree heat is roughly equivalent to a 20-minute 5K in cool conditions. Same effort, same engine, same fitness, just translated into today's conditions. So that was the plan. Not 20 minutes, 21:00, and I finished in 21:13, 13 seconds over, which over 5 kilometers is a 2.5 seconds per kilometer. So no, it's not a failed race. It's a race that landed almost exactly on target, a target no one else could see but me. The sub 20 is still out there for the taking, but now I know I didn't lose it in June. The fitness was there all along, the thermometer just hid it, and now I know exactly how much it hid. So I take home a morning spent in a place that 2000 years ago was a sacred wood, and 30 years ago was about to become a residential neighborhood, which as a cost-benefit ratio for a free race is really hard to beat. And there's one more thing, all this heat, if you train in it often enough, isn't just a tax, it becomes training. There's a saying in endurance sports, heat is the poor man's altitude. Meanwhile, the only living being in this story who handled the day smartly is him. He didn't run, he didn't sweat, he didn't look at his watch once, but he won't rest easy for long. You know why? Because at this parkrun, dogs are welcome too.